Hello, and thank you for listening to this Ringside Report Network podcast today. You can find more in-depth, exclusive written content on our website at ringsidereport.net. Before I hand it off to Dave and the team, I want to remind you that we are a listener-supported creator team. On our website, we would appreciate it if you supported our sponsors or purchased our exclusive merch. Branded clothing, mugs, and even jiu-jitsu gear, which are available only in our store. You can become a recurring supporter of our content at membership.ringsidereport.net. This, along with all our podcasts, is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Amazon, iHeart, and TuneIn, wherever you get your podcasts. It would help us immensely if you left a positive review on Spotify, Apple, or Amazon. Thank you for your support and enjoy the show.
Ooh, why Jon Jones shouldn't fight Tom Aspinall. We'll preview UFC London, Leon Edwards back in action, and Conor McGregor takes the White House.
Let's go!
Yes. It's time. There they are.
I think you did an error, Dave.
What happened?
I mean, you should have said why Jon Jones should fight Tom Aspinall.
No, I'm saying why he shouldn't, Fred. I'm going to go the other way. Everybody wants him to fight Tom Aspinall, and I'm going to tell you why he shouldn't fight Tom Aspinall.
Who do you want him to fight?
Lose.
Who do I want him to fight? Nobody.
To walk away as a legend.
Worse.
Walk away healthy and wealthy.
No,
Healthy and wealthy, like GSP said.
Entertain me. Entertain me.
No, he doesn't live for your entertainment, Fred. Jon Jones doesn't live for your entertainment. He lives for himself and his family. At least he should be. He shouldn't be living for the adulation of the crowd. He shouldn't be living for another paycheck at this point. The UFC isn't going to give him the money that it's worth. They will not meet his number. Welcome to the show.
I thought you were going to say he was going to lose, man.
Tom Aspinall is saying he's losing faith that this fight's going to take place. He's saying that he's going to fight this summer now, whether it's against Jon Jones or somebody else, because he knows what I know, and that is the UFC will not meet Jon Jones' number for this fight because Tom Aspinall is not worth it. He's not worth it. He's young, he's big, he's dangerous, and he doesn't draw a dime. Why would you fight him if you're Jon Jones? It's not going to pay. It's dangerous. You're already cemented as the greatest of all time. If you walk away today, there'll be some fans that'll say, oh, you didn't fight Tom Aspinall. Oh, he's scared of Tom Aspinall. Anybody that thinks that is ridiculous. And in 3 years' time, probably 2 years' time, or maybe 6 months' time, if Tom Aspinall loses his next fight, people won't be saying that anymore. Tom Aspinall co-main evented a pay-per-view in his last outing. He has not drawn any kind of serious money for the UFC. So forget about pay-per-view percentage for Jon Jones. That's not going to be worth anything. It's not worth the risk at this stage in his life and career to fight Tom Aspinall because he's not really a name in the sport. Some people are saying, oh, Tom Aspinall, you should fight Tom Aspinall. If Tom Aspinall loses to Cyril Gane in the summer, everybody's going to say, oh, well, yeah, I guess it was good that Jon Jones didn't fight him because who cares? Because we saw what Jon Jones did to Cyril Gane.
I care.
Why?
Everybody cares, Dave.
I want to see Jon Jones active. I think he's the greatest of all time, and I want to see more of him, man. Like I've said for a long time, Jon Jones to me is the greatest of all time. But if I have to say one thing, is I feel he didn't give us all the fights that we could have had from him. Because like he's been in trouble, fights have been delayed, fights have been canceled, and all that. So greatest of all time could have been greater.
Good point, man. He has a point there, Dave.
That may be so, but does losing to Tom Aspinall make him greater?
You won't lose. You won't lose, man.
Well, then I'll ask you a different question.
You never know, man.
I'll ask you a different question. Does beating Tom Aspinall make him that much greater than he already is?
No, but he's already the greatest,
I think so.
man.
I think so.
He's already. That's exactly my point, Fred. He's already the greatest. He's already the greatest.
I don't want him
Tom
to retire.
Tom Aspinall right now is the guy that's on his tails as being the next greatest. He's right there. He's the guy of 2020. He's the guy of 20.
AJ.
Listen, he's the guy of 2025. You got to beat the best guy out there in 2025, and that's Tom Aspinall. He's got to beat him to be considered the greatest.
Guy up. He's next up in line at heavyweight. He's not in line to be the greatest of all time. Who has he beat? He's defended an interim championship one time, and you want to compare him to Jon Jones, who reigned over the light heavyweight division for over a decade? Are you kidding me?
I'm not comparing him to Jon Jones. We can agree on that.
Look at the names that Jon Jones defeated. Lyoto Machida, Shogun, Rampage, Rashad, Vitor, Gustafsson, Daniel Cormier.
Yeah. That was of the past, bro. Now is today. And Tom Aspinall is the man.
And he beat Cyril Gann and Stipe Miocic, and he's been doing it forever. You want him to...
Well, that I was impressed with.
Here's the point that maybe I'm not making. There's a limit to how far you can push this thing. And he's already pushed it pretty far. We know he's been partying for years. We know that he's 37 years old, probably going to be 38 by the time this fight happens. And there's a limit. And Tom Aspinall is good and is dangerous and could beat him. So why take the risk? If the UFC isn't going to give him the number that he feels that fight is worth to him, why would he take the fight? And that really is what it's about. It's not about should Jon Jones take the fight. Is Aspinall the logical step? Like, of course it is, especially after what happened to Pereira, and Pereira not really being a factor anymore for Jones. It's like, okay, well, if Jones is going to fight again, it has to be Aspinall. But my point is, do you need it? Do you really need it?
Yeah, man.
Unless
the
UFC,
right.
Yes, we do.
I get that you guys want to see it. I want to see it too. I want to see Jon Jones fight. Like, I get it. But I'm saying that if I'm Jon Jones, I go, is it worth it? Is it worth it to possibly get knocked out by this guy who's not going to be the greatest ever or like a big legend in the sport? He's just going to be the guy that catches me at the right time. Like, Sean Strickland beat Israel Adesanya. Is Sean Strickland a better fighter and a greater champion than Israel Adesanya? I don't think so. I think he just caught Israel at the right time.
But I'm going to put it from the UFC's perspective where, like you say, you keep trying to diss Aspinall by saying, he co-main evented his last pay-per-view. And you're right. That's what he did. But with
I'm not trying to diss him. I'm pointing out a fact.
You're trying to diss him. But
no, I'm not. I'm seriously not. I'm saying, like,
seems to me
they get
too,
a
man.
cut of the pay-per-view percentage, right? And if the UFC doesn't feel that he's worthy of a main event...
okay, so here's my question to you. Like, okay, maybe Topuria versus Islam Makhachev is a bigger fight. Maybe DDP against Khamzat. But other than that, like, and even those two examples are a little fluffy because Jon Jones is a much bigger star. So Jon Jones versus Aspinall, to me, is the biggest fight the UFC could give us right now. And the UFC is in need of giving us some big fights. So the UFC should pay whatever they can to Jon Jones. And I agree, Jon Jones should get paid.
Mm-hmm.
But in my opinion, this should be getting done, man, because everybody should want it. Like Jon Jones playing hardball, saying, I agree. Okay, play hardball, try to get as much money as you want. But in the end, like Jon Jones, if you want to have another fight, who else do you want to fight? Like the Pereira fight is pretty much gone.
Yeah.
And so like...
Well, not really.
Aspinall makes sense. And if not, like I kind of almost would like to see him fight Ankalaev. But right now he's a heavyweight, so he should fight Aspinall.
when he fought last, when he fought Stipe, he said, Aspinall is not really interesting to me. If the UFC is going to pay me a big number, then I'd consider it. If not, Pereira's interesting. If they don't want to give me that fight, then I'm good with just walking away. And I'm saying if those are the three options, and now Pereira's not an option, and the UFC is not willing to give him the money he's worth getting, then I think we might have to start considering that he is going to just walk away. And I don't think anyone should blame him from doing so. And I don't think that anyone should say, oh, he's doing it because he's scared of Tom Aspinall. I just think that's absurd. And there is this thought that, oh, the fight's not being made right now. The UFC can't announce it because Jon Jones doesn't want to fight Tom Aspinall. It's that Jon Jones realizes it's a risk, realizes how long he's been doing it, and realizes that he's worth a certain amount at this point. And the UFC, like Fred, you pointed out, they need big fights. So they better pay up. And if they're not going to pay up, then he can walk away because he's made a lot of money over the years and he's the greatest of all time. His legacy is untainted as far as I'm concerned if he walks away. Because look, I think that in the end, we'll see Tom Aspinall. Like, he may be heavyweight champion for a couple of years, but eventually somebody's going to catch up to him, and the reign that he'll have will not match that of Jon Jones. And I'm not saying that to disparage Tom Aspinall. I'm saying that to tell you how great Jon Jones really was. He was unstoppable. He's the greatest of all time by far. He was ridiculous.
Bro, he became champion 23 years ago. Just imagine where you were 23 years ago.
No, he didn't.
Wasn't
Maybe
it?
13 years ago.
AJ. Math.
23 years ago? AJ, he would have been...
When was he? Hold on a sec.
23 years ago, Jon Jones was like 13 years old. Why don't...
Or 14, because he's 37.
The youngest champion.
Yeah, 37.
He was 23 years old when he became champion. That's what I was trying to say against Mauricio Shogun Rua. But think about it. What is he now? He's 37 years old.
And that was 14 years ago.
Yeah, it was 14.
By the way.
So
and he's still on top. That's ridiculous.
He is on top.
No MMA fighter that's had that kind of
run. But he's on top of what?
Ever.
The heavyweight division by 2 fights, bro. And the thing is this.
Crazy.
And let's not forget this. Like, so look, good. I agree with you. He's the greatest of all time, but he needs to fight Aspinall because Aspinall is right there. He's interim. He's there. He's the hottest guy, and I believe that he has an opportunity.
He's the hottest guy. Clip that.
He is. I think he's the hottest, the hottest heavyweight fighter out there, man. I think he could beat Jon Jones. I think he has the full package to do that. I went with Cyril Gane, and I was mistaken. But Cyril Gane, I know that if he fought Tom Aspinall, he would have probably lost. And I'm pretty, confident in that now more than ever. But what I'm trying to get at it is that I agree with you.
You don't think Cyril can beat Tom Aspinall?
No.
Wow.
No. And that was hard for me to say, like, way back. But after seeing Tom Aspinall fight and seeing how his career has progressed, man, this guy is something. And I really think Daniel Cormier gave Jon Jones some of his hardest fights. Jon Jones admitted that. But I think Tom Aspinall is above a Cormier by far. And I believe this, and I believe what Cormier said. Cormier and Errol Helwani said it, that, look, Jon Jones is not afraid to fight Tom Aspinall. Jon Jones is not afraid of fighting anyone. I agree with that. Jones is a beast. But let's be honest, we're in 2025 with a young heavyweight fighter that has skills to match Jon Jones, in my opinion, at this stage of the game. And
I don't think
that's why he needs an extended training camp, Fred. And that's why I'm saying right now he's asking for 6 months to get into shape. That means that Jones is probably not at his best. I would give it to him. 6 months brings us right to where I think this fight, I think it shouldn't even be in September. I think this fight should be taking place sometime in December. I think this should be the end of the year fight as a showcase, man. I think Jon Jones should be fighting Tom Aspinall sometime in December. November, exactly. November, December. That's where it should be.
But I don't think Jon Jones is scared of anybody, and he's not scared of Tom
he's not
Aspinall.
afraid of anybody.
With that said, man, I saw today an old video of several years ago of Jon Jones being interviewed, and he mentions to to the interviewer that he thinks Tom Aspinall is a fucking good prospect in the heavyweight division. Like, so Jon Jones knows who Tom Aspinall is for a long time, and he's respected him for a long time from seeing that. So, yeah, it's a dangerous fight. I still believe in Jon Jones, man. Jon Jones is best fight IQ, best fighter ever. This guy will figure it out, man, and I want to see it, man. So, come on, Dana, just get it done.
Give him the money. Give him the money.
Give him the money, man. I
mean, I want to see it.
Listen to this.
I agree with you, Fred. I think that Jon Jones could definitely beat Tom Aspinall. I think it's like we're pushing it, though. You know, we're pushing it with Jon Jones. It's like, how many of these younger guys that are really good can he beat? How long can it go? It's just every fight now.
Until it finishes, man.
Like, the Stipe fight wasn't really a question, but the Cyril Gane fight, before the fight, you're like, can he do this? You know? And with Aspinall, I think the question is going to be like, can he get this one done?
But I think Tom Aspinall is not going to make the same mistake.
The best, but there's a limit.
Look, he's not going to make the same mistake as Cyril Gane did. Cyril Gane, that fight didn't look, Jon Jones manhandled him. But I think there was some serious mistakes of Cyril Gane to lose that quick. There was many steps that Cyril Gane probably wouldn't do if they ever met again. That being said, Tom Aspinall will not make those mistakes. And let's be honest, you're the king of saying Father Time. Father Time is on Jon Jones' side right now at 37. How many more years? He's able to beat a Cyril Gane. He was able to beat, a Stipe. But a Stipe, you got an old Stipe who couldn't even walk 6 months earlier.
But
let's be honest,
point,
Tom Aspinall is different, man. This is a different game altogether.
AJ, Aspinall, is a guy that Jon Jones has been watching for a while, and he's probably been studying him, and he's so good at game planning for fights that he will find things in Aspinall's game that he can exploit. He'll find those holes, he'll find those mistakes, and he'll exploit them come fight time with expert precision. I mean, that's just what he does. He is brilliant at MMA. It's not just that he's skilled. It's that he's very smart and knows what to do and how to finish fights. He was very well trained as well under the Greg Jackson team. They were great game planners.
100%.
And he always goes in with a really top-notch plan.
But that's why this is the fight everybody wants to see. And to be honest, if I have to look at all the fighters going back, I mean, I keep saying it, we're in 2025. It's a different MMA game than it was back in the 2000s, early 2000s. It's a different game today. You know what I'm saying? So that's why Tom Aspinall is probably going to be his most dangerous opponent that he's ever faced. And I think, personally, if I was Jon Jones, I would walk away, man. Walk away as the
legend.
What I'm saying. Has a record that's...
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I've been saying.
But then you're going to have guys like me and Freddie.
Necessary.
But then you're going to have guys like me and Freddie and all the rest saying, how come you didn't fight Tom Aspinall? I don't want to say that he's walking away because he's a fear.
AJ, you'll have that, and you'll have to deal with that for maybe a year or two, and then everybody will go back to going, oh, you're the greatest of all time, when whatever happens to Tom Aspinall eventually happens,
but there's always that
was
debate.
Saying that Jon Jones didn't want to fight Francis Ngannou and this and that, and now no one's talking about Francis Ngannou.
Well, I mean, wouldn't you like to see him come back? I would love to. And
it would be a good fight, of course, but it's just not something that, at a certain point, everybody was saying Jon Jones has to fight Francis Ngannou. It never happened, and people just kind of gave up on it.
Yeah, but
it's the same thing with Tom Aspinall.
That are talking about. You still have a lot of people, even to this week, I was talking to people saying, oh, who would have won between Khabib and George St. Pierre? It's always going to be that question, right? And it'll be the same thing with Jon Jones if he walks away now.
Well, a lot of people at the time were talking about George St. Pierre and Anderson Silva, and I don't hear a lot of people asking that question. Who would have won between GSP and Anderson Silva?
Yeah,
people don't ask that question. People forget, man.
Yeah, but
short memories.
They forget that one. They don't forget the Khabib and the George. Because
Khabib is still around and
there.
George is always around in this city because you live in Montreal.
Yeah, possibly.
Definitely.
You're right. You got a point there.
Definitely.
But
I don't think people are asking about
fight.
George St. Pierre. I mean, maybe they are, but
Whether it's
Not
George, Khabib, or Anderson, they're all regarded as legends today. You know, people are, with retrospect, are looking at the nuance, and they're able to say that all three are legends. And Jon Jones, even if he loses, let's say like Anderson Silva, you know, the end of his career wasn't great, but people recognize him as one of the greats. And if Jon Jones were to lose a fight to Tom Aspinall, man, he'd still be considered one of the greats.
Exactly. That's where I'm getting at too. I think even if he loses, he's still going to be considered the greatest. We've seen that with like even Pereira just recently, even though he lost, which I think he won. Like I looked over the fight. I think he won 1, 3, and 5. And a lot of people that I've spoken to kind of like are on the same page. It was so close that third, but I think it was so close that Pereira had that edge. But all to say is that everybody loses. Muhammad Ali lost. Mike Tyson lost to Jake Paul too. But do we consider like he did, man? And you know what? That's the thing. All the greatest have lost, except for one, Jon Jones. And I agree with you. If he does walk away, there will be no one, I don't think in the history of the fighting game for maybe decades will be able to replicate what Jon Jones has done. I mean, we're seeing Wayne Gretzky's records being broken right now, which I never thought would be possible. It happens, but it's taken a long time, man, from the 90s to like the late 24s and 25s to get that record done. I don't think in the next 10, 15 years we'll see a guy like Jon Jones to hold a record that young and still maintain it with a clean sheet. You know, I agree with you. But
who was breaking Wayne Gretzky's records? I didn't hear about this.
Sidney Crosby, Ovechkin. Yeah, man, come on.
They're still playing?
You know? Yeah,
Ovechkin is close to being the all-time goal scorer.
Wow.
Yeah, he's right there. Is that crazy?
Missing like
no one.
12 goals, something like that.
Well, how many years has he been playing hockey?
He's been there for a while.
20 seasons, basically.
And he's still good enough to play in the NHL? Like he's
damn
still good?
Right, man.
That's crazy.
Man.
He's got the same guy as LeBron, probably, allegedly.
Yeah, right? My God. I'm surprised these guys are still playing hockey. Sidney Crosby's still playing hockey?
Yep.
Sidney Crosby was playing for Team Canada just recently, and he played really well, you know. And the thing is that Crosby is a beast. But, like, at least Crosby has won a Stanley Cup. Has Ovechkin won one, Freddie?
Yes, he has.
He did, Washington. So he's up there. But, you know, in the fighting game, there's nobody there except for Jon Jones, who still is a champion with a clean record. That's insane. Even George lost, man.
Yeah,
you know?
It happens.
Think about it.
It happens.
It happens, but not to Jon Jones. Jon Jones does not know what defeat is.
Does he need that? Does he need it? I don't think he needs it.
I think he needs it for people like myself to say, if he could beat a guy in 2025, if he could beat a fighter of 2025 that young with that many more opportunities than Jon Jones had when they found him in a gym, like pumping weights to become an MMA fighter, like it's a different game. Tom Aspinall has the best jiu-jitsu coaches, the best Muay Thai guys, the best MMA teams, the best conditioning
You're excited.
therapists. Listen to hear me out. This is important because Tom Aspinall has everything that Jon Jones didn't have in the beginning of his game. He just had Jon Jones, you know, and then he got his team and whatnot to help him through, like you were saying earlier. But if he could beat a guy who has a lot greater opportunities to be a great fighter, if Jon Jones could beat Tom Aspinall, man, I'll wear a Jon Jones shirt every day. Well, different shirts, but almost every day.
All right.
And to be honest, I will still consider Jon Jones the greatest fighter of all time. Above boxing and like all the other martial arts.
UFC is in London this weekend. How about that?
London's falling, bud.
London, England.
Dana White loves London, man. It's going to be interesting.
Okay. Main event is Sean Brady and Leon Edwards.
Yeah,
welterweight fight. Sean
man.
Brady 17-1. Coming off a couple wins over Kelvin Gastelum and Gilbert Burns. The only guy that's beaten Brady is the current champion, Bilal Muhammad. And his opponent, Leon Edwards, former champion, just coming off that loss to Bilal Muhammad. And this is a big one for him. Born in Jamaica, but grew up in Birmingham, England. So this one in his home country. What are the odds on this fight? Who's the favorite here? This is an interesting fight here for Leon Edwards. How
Edwards
does he
is the
bounce
favorite.
back? He's just 33 years old. Like, he's got time to
He's
get
young,
back
man.
into title contention. He's got like a couple of years where he can kind of step back into the mix. He's plus 130 the underdog, AJ. You told me he was the favorite. Leon Edwards plus 130 underdog. Sean Brady minus 170 to win.
He's the underdog.
Indeed.
I apologize, man, and I'm surprised too.
I am surprised. Brady, though, is on a tear. Just a year younger than Leon at 32. Yeah, I'm a little surprised. I think I'm going to go with the Brit Leon Edwards to win.
Look, if it's a stand-up game, Edwards should be able to like control it and outpoint him, maybe bring it to a decision win. But if he's not able, because Brady, man, his grappling, his wrestling is elite level, man. If he takes control of Edwards and pushes him on his back heels, it's going to be a bad night for Leon Edwards. Brady is there for a reason, man. I think he has like 3 submission wins in the UFC. The guy's a beast. He doesn't have like the accuracy of Leon Edwards standing, but if he's able to put him up against the octagon, it's going to be a bad night. So that's why I'm saying there's a reason why the odds maker went towards Brady. I was surprised because Leon Edwards is like, should be the favorite. But when you look at all the stats that I was looking at, Brady is a dangerous opponent.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure fighting in your hometown,
I think I'm going to go with Brady also. I'm looking like he's defeated some good guys. Gilbert Burns, Gastelum, Chiesa. Those are legit guys. The only thing I would say is those guys are all mostly grapplers, and Leon Edwards is his main attributes. It's striking. So maybe Leon brings a different type of matchup, but I think Brady's going to figure a way to get it to the ground and pound, and he'll probably finish him. I'll go with Brady by submission or TKO, but ground and pound TKO. But I think Brady got this.
Brady, I was going to say, you brought up a good point, because if you look at the guys that Brady's beat, they were all like elite grapplers and wrestlers, and he was still able to win against them. That shows you the level of his ground game. So I don't think Edwards is going to be capable of like stopping that, that thunder that's coming towards him. And it's going to be tough. But if he's able to control the stand-up game, he's going to win it. But it has to be like a perfect night.
Yeah, I think Leon defends the takedowns. That last fight against Bilal Muhammad, he came out a little flat.
Are you serious?
Huh?
You think Edwards is going to defend those takedowns from Brady?
Yeah, I think he's got to.
So.
I think he knows what's coming, and he's going to throw hands in return, and I think the crowd is going to help him quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think the fact that they're fighting at a normal time instead of 6 a.m. like the last time is going to help Leon Edwards. He's fighting like at 10 p.m. England time, The main card, I think, starts at 9, so he'll probably fight like 11 or 12, like a normal time. The fight with Bilal was in England, but it was a pay-per-view, so they did it 10 p.m. Eastern, like for, our time, right? 10 p.m. our time. But over there, the pay-per-view started at like 3 a.m.?
4 a.m.
4 a.m. So he was fighting at like 6, 7 a.m. Like, it was all weird for him. This is going to be in his time, like his area. It's more comfortable for Leon as opposed to Brady coming from Philadelphia. I think that's going to play a factor. The British crowd is going to be riled up. I think that's going to play a factor. I think Leon's going to do what he needs to do and knock him out. I got Sean Brady getting knocked out by Leon Edwards. Like, Bilal Muhammad TKO'd him. Bilal Muhammad's not like a power puncher, so I'm going to go with Leon Edwards being able to knock out old Brady. All right? Leon as the dog in the main event. That's Dave's pick. You guys can go pick with Brady. How about the co-main event? Jan Błachowicz and Carlos Ulberg. This is return of the Yan.
Yeah.
42 years
the Polish
old. He
beast.
hasn't fought now since getting hurt. He hasn't fought since 2023 when he lost to Alex Pereira by split decision in 3 rounds. Yan returns.
Been a while, man.
Ulberg is
Ulberg's
34 years
huge
old.
favorite.
Ulberg?
Yeah, he's minus 310.
Ooh, that's interesting. Why am I picking all the underdogs here? Can Yan do it, though? I'm not sure. Like, Ulberg has been on a run, but I haven't been super impressed with anything he's done. The wins on his record aren't astounding. And if Jan Błachowicz can come back and be what he was when he fought Alex Pereira, I think he can win this fight. It's just, he's 42, and it was a while ago now, so you go, can he?
Hasn't fought in 2 years, bro. That's the
almost
difference.
2 years. And he's 42 now instead of 40, so it's a difference.
And Ulberg's a beast. Since 2021, he's beat everybody in front of him.
And before that was that Ankalaev fight that was a draw, but we all think Ankalaev won. So, I mean, Błachowicz hasn't looked good in a while.
That's true. But Ulberg, who's he beaten? Like, he's finishing guys. But then he ran into Volkan Ozdemir, and he beat him by decision. And Volkan, loses more than he wins. I haven't seen anything from Carlos Ulberg where I go, ooh, this guy, he's got something. He's all right, but he's not beating anybody.
No. He's on a 7-fight winning streak, but he hasn't beat
against
anybody
who?
a big name. You're right. But, he's got to beat somebody with a name, and maybe this is it on Saturday night.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying I don't think it's going to be. I'm going with Yan. Old, trusty Yan. Polish power, man. What about the magic, man. AJ? Did you forget about the magic rope?
Magic rope. Yeah, well, you're right. But the magic rope, he hasn't brought it out in, I think, the last 3 fights.
It's coming back out.
And he's lost. When he hasn't brought out that rope, man, it didn't look good. Even his last fight, he was very slow.
Legendary Polish power.
It is, man, but he's coming to that time, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't care. I'm going with him. I'm going with him to win. Jan Błachowicz. You guys going against me again? You fuckers.
Look, it's going to be a tough. I don't want to go against Jan. I don't want to go against Polski power. If I see the rope, I'm going to start shaking. But, man, he needs that rope to win. But I think it's going to be hard, man. This guy is he hasn't lost since 2021, and he's on a streak, and he's young, and he's just a beast. I think it's going to be a tough game for Yan. I think we're starting to see these fighters, coming to the end of their game. It's hard, dude. I don't want to say it, but
yeah, maybe you might be right. Speaking of end of their game, Gunnar Nelson is back. 36 years old. He's been fighting in the UFC forever. He hasn't fought since 2023. Another guy who hasn't fought in 2 years. He's back. He started fighting in the UFC back in September 2012 on a show on Fuel TV. UFC on Fuel, Struve versus Miocic. He fought DeMarcus Johnson that night in his UFC debut. I was definitely watching that show. And he's been fighting in the UFC forever. He's fought some big names. He's won 2 in a row, technically. He won in March 2022 and March 2023 and hasn't fought since. I guess he missed his March 2024 fight, so now March 2025, here we go. It's Gunnar Nelson season, I guess. Does he fight once a year in March, and he was maybe injured last March, so he's next March, I guess. What?
Not sure, but
Kevin Holland's on the opposite side.
What his last couple of fights were they in Europe?
Let's see.
Maybe
they were in London. Yeah, he's been fighting only in Europe since 2019.
That's all right, man. That's a good retirement plan, part-time fighting, stay at home.
Yeah. I mean, he's only fought in the United States twice for the UFC. His debut on that Fuel show was in Nottingham, England. Then he fought in London twice, in Dublin, Ireland, in Stockholm, Sweden. Then he fought in Vegas twice. Beat Brandon Thatch. Remember Brandon Thatch in 2015? Then he lost to Damian Maia in Vegas at UFC 194. And then he fought Albert Tumanov in Rotterdam, Netherlands for the UFC. Then again in London. Then in Glasgow, Scotland. Oh, then he fought in Canada. He fought in Toronto. And then London, Copenhagen, Denmark, London, and now again, Saturday, London. He's a European favorite. Gunnar Nelson. And he's fighting Kevin Holland, who is somebody's favorite. I'm not sure.
Well, he's fighting again, man. And at this rate, he's going to break the record for the most fights in a single year.
Well, he keeps losing. At what time does the UFC just cut him?
Well, somebody doesn't like him if they're putting him up against like heavy grapplers, which tends to be his weak point. But he's fighting again, Kevin Holland. He's making money. There's no doubt about it.
He's supposed to lose. He's technically the underdog, plus 105. Gunnar Nelson, minus 135, the favorite. I like it. Gunnar.
You see, I struggle to always pick Kevin Holland because, I'm not sure he's 100% into winning, man. He's into entertaining, it seems. He's a great fighter to watch. He's fun and all that, but he seems to be more about smiling and having fun than actually I don't know.
But
look at
dangerous.
Gunnar. You see, Dave, you have a theory of the guys dancing. I have a theory about guys that laugh and aren't serious enough. And Kevin Holland honestly needs to be a little more serious in his approach.
Yeah,
I'm going with Gunnar.
Yeah, I don't trust Kevin Holland to win any fight.
But isn't this fight at welterweight?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's it. I mean, that's where he might have a little bit of an advantage over Gunnar. He might
Gunner's
have
always
that
fought
step,
at welterweight.
But Kevin Holland?
Holland fought
always
middleweight a little bit.
Yeah,
Holland's
bigger,
a big guy.
So,
Maybe Gunnar will struggle a little bit to bring him to the ground, things like that. I could see Kevin Holland winning. Kevin Holland is a good athlete. He's big. He's strong. For a welterweight, sometimes he's about having fun too much, man. You got a job to do. It's winning.
But the thing is that he makes it exciting. But the thing is that when he's on his game, when you see Holland on his game, his chances of winning are really at the top. I mean, this guy is something. When he's focused and he's not joking around like you said, Fred, he's very dangerous. And I think in this fight, I think it's a different time. I think the weight class is going to help Holland, and I think if he keeps to the striking game, which I think Gunnar might want to do, which is going to be a big mistake, it's not going to end well for him. I'm going with Holland on this fight, even though sometimes I'm hit and miss, but because he's fighting all the time. He's up there. He's fight ready all the time right now. And this year, he's going to break that record if he continues. So I'm going with Kevin Holland for the win.
He went, let's see, in 2023, he went 2-1. In 2024, he went 1-2. And so far, he's 0-1 in 2025. And this is his second fight since January. He fought in January against Rainier de Ridder, and he got tapped in 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah,
he's 3-6 in his last 9, man.
Yeah. He's not done well. He's lost 4 of his last 5 fights. I think he's going to lose again to Gunnar Nelson. A fight he probably should win, but he'll find a way to lose. It's not like he loses.
Yeah,
somehow he loses with it's like he's trying to lose almost. It's weird. You see him do things, and you're like, you could win, right? What are you doing? And then he loses.
Yeah, you're right.
Just something
which
stupid.
is frustrating.
You go, what? Why, dude?
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me a parlay, AJ. What do you think? Do you have picks? Do you know who's going to win these fights? Do you have predictions? Fred's parlay won last week.
He did. Congratulations,
did you know
Freddie.
Yeah.
That I knew.
Fred, what was your parlay last week?
Dolice, Hernandez, and Waldo, Faldo, Araldo, Costa, Acosta.
He was good,
Waldo,
man.
Faldo?
Yeah, man. He was impressive. I like him.
Oh, yeah. He knocked out Ryan
I like him a lot.
You had Dolice, who beat Marvin Vittori. You had Costa Cortez.
Italian Dream. Man.
And then you had who?
Hernandez.
Alex Hernandez?
Yeah.
Beat Kurt Hollabaugh. There you go. 3-fight parlay from Team Freddy. Wins again. So we should start with Fred's parlay then. Fred is the winner. Fred is our returning champion. What do you got?
Yep. Start with the champ, man.
Sean Brady. Gunnar Nelson. Keep it simple.
Ooh.
I'm picking Jan to win, okay, but I don't trust him, man. Like, I'm picking him as a sentimental pick, man.
Yeah.
For my part, I'm going to keep Gunnar and Sean Brady as my parlay.
Okay. There's the Team Fred parlay. It's Sean Brady and Gunnar Nelson. 20 gets you $55.29 over at bet99.com. How about that?
Nice pay. Nice.
There you go. That's the Fred parlay. AJ, what do you have for me?
I'm going with Freddie, man. I'm going with Sean Brady. If it's a stand-up game, I can see Leon winning, but I don't think that's going to happen. His defense is not going to be able to withstand Sean Brady. So he's 17-1 for a reason. So Sean Brady. Then I'm going to go with Carlos Ulberg, and I really hate to go against Jan, man, and against my Polish brothers. But, his time is done, man. It's 2 years off, too. It's not good. And Carlos is on a streak, 12-1, and it's going to be a hard night for Jan. But I can be wrong. But Carlos is my pick. And then I'm going to go with Kevin Holland. I think Kevin Holland is going to be able to handle Gunnar. I think he's going to come off that last loss with a lot of anger because he knows he messed up. He could have fought a lot better. And he's coming in with a lot of emotion. So I think he's coming in with a purpose. And then we got the meatball that's fighting against Alexia Tainara. And this girl, Alexia, is very young, 29, 11-1. And Molly, every time she's like, had a lot of like hope for her and whatnot. I think she's okay. But at 34 years old, and the reach of Alexia at 170 centimeters to 157 is too much of a difference. She's 11-1 for a reason. I'm going with Alexia Tainara on this fight.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
It's not going to be great for the Londoners, I think, on Saturday night.
Yeah, they might not be too happy with that. That's a good pick, though. No. Tainara over McCann.
Tainara, man. That could be something of the future if she has a good win against Molly Meatball.
Let's see what we got here. There is Sean Brady, Kevin Holland, Carlos Ulberg, and Alexia Tainara. 20 gets you 127-13 over at bet99.com. That's the Team AJ parlay. Tainara,
nice, baby.
Ulberg, Holland, and Brady. Okay. I'm going to give you a little something here for the Team Dave parlay.
Spit it out, Dave.
I'm going to get to it. Let me give you something. Let me give you I'm going with my man Leon. And I'm not putting Jan on my parlay, even though I do want him to win. I think he's going to win. I'm just staying away. I'm going to give you a 3-fight parlay. Or do I give you Guram as well? Guram! Is Guram worth it? Guram Kutaledze is fighting against Cow Fernandez. The Cow. No, I'm staying away from Guram. All right, I'm giving you a 3-fight parlay. Yeah. It looks a little something like this. It's Leon Edwards plus 130 in the main event. It's Gunnar Nelson, and it's Alexia Tainara. What is it? 20 will get you. What does it get you? It's going to get you 118.20 over at bet99.com. Yeah. It's a 3-fight parlay.
Nice pay.
It's Tainara. It's Gunnar, and it's Leon. That's the Team Dave parlay.
I mean,
little mixy. A little bit different than Fred's, a little bit different than AJ's.
you like to be
some
different,
similarities
right?
too.
Okay.
I got Tainara that's in your parlay. Fred, I think you took Gunnar Nelson. And nobody's going with Leon. I'm going with my man Leon in the main event. Leon Edwards time.
Look, man, if he plays the game, if he plays that stand-up game and is able to like withstand the takedowns, he's gonna win.
He's supposed to win this fight.
It's gonna be a hard night.
Show is for him.
It's gonna go to distance. Listen, man, I just saw DJ Bourne said he wants some money because of Fred, man. Congratulations, DJ.
Oh, nice.
We like to see some people winning, man. Freddie. DJ loves you, man. Making some money. How much did you win, DJ?
Millions.
But Saturday night, man.
And finally, I can't believe we have to talk about this, but Conor McGregor did visit the White House and seemed to take questions and then had a meeting with the President of America who, and I don't know. It was St. Patrick's Day, so I guess Donald Trump decided to get the most famous Irishman he could think of to come to the White House and speak and dance around for him. I don't know what the hell that was.
Name me a more famous Irishman.
I can't. He's the most famous Irishman there is. So I guess when you're the President of America on St. Patrick's Day, you summon the most famous Irishman you could find and you get him to come to the White House and talk about Ireland. And now Conor's making all sorts of political proclamations. He's a diplomat, I think. I don't know. He's not a UFC fighter anymore. That's for damn sure. He's doing some other shit.
Vote Conor.
What did he say on Twitter? He said some...
Remember when you guys were making fun of me a long time ago when I said, I'm telling you, Conor's going to get into politics? Go back in the old tapes, man. I said it. I knew that this guy...
Now he's saying, vote for me as your president, and we will save Ireland together. Conor is... saying he's running for president of Ireland. Position.
Wally agrees.
That Conor should be president of Ireland?
I guess if you're living in Ireland, it might be...
Would you want Conor McGregor as the leader of your country?
Damn right.
Fred?
Conor, it'd be... No. We had somebody here. Freddie, we had a prime minister. I guess if he was Conor, I'd probably be a bit more excited.
I mean, Conor appears I don't know. Say what you want about the prime minister. Conor is a little out there,
But it could.
I wouldn't want him leading the country. I wouldn't want him in charge of a military. I think that would be very dangerous.
Well, it's
I don't know what
Ireland's
military is like, but I assume they have one, and I assume it's pretty good.
I know Conor is almost a billionaire or whatever, but I wouldn't want him in charge of a world of a country's economy, man. I'm sorry. Okay, he managed to sell his brand. That doesn't mean he knows how to run a country, man.
No. It's yeah.
Vote Conor.
It's really strange. And the pictures are just great of Conor. Conor and Elon at the White House, of course, because Elon's always in the White House for some reason. There's
brightest mind in the world.
These guys
right
there.
Yeah, look at Conor, man, ready to go with. Well, yeah,
there he is.
I told you already about Neuralink.
Yeah, sure, okay. How's that Tesla stock doing there?
Doesn't matter.
I heard pieces are flying off the Cybertrucks all over the road.
Well, it's a bit ridiculous considering that it's a very environmental product.
Uh-huh. Jeez, that's quite a photo. Wow.
Look at the size of Conor's fist there. It's pretty big.
Jeez. Yeah.
Don't mess with the Fighting Irish, man.
Oh, I found out, too, that this lady here with Conor, the White House press secretary, is the youngest lady to ever do it. She's 27 or something. And she's married to a guy who's 60. So that's something.
Well, good for him.
I guess.
We've had people that were much older.
Okay, Dave, if you're going to go there, then I'm gonna go at another place, Dave.
Here
man.
we go. I was waiting for Freddie. He was too quiet.
So after watching like some stuff on the internet, man, fucking Emmanuel Macron, man, and his wife.
Oh yeah, well that's also very strange. I mean, obviously
he was 14 and she was 39.
Okay, let's not go there. But yes, we could go to the age gap, and she was like his teacher too, wasn't she?
Wasn't she his teen?
Talk about
Yes, of course. That's nuts.
She was 39.
Yes.
Excuse me, Mrs. Robinson. Freddie, how old was he?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying
14.
that is. I'm not
14.
condoning
Think
that
about
either.
yourself at 14.
But Fred, let's not confuse things here. We're talking about America and
Mrs.
France.
Robinson.
When I told that to my wife, she couldn't believe it.
That's
a 14-year-old is not really attractive to a woman.
It shouldn't be. No,
but is he really
this lady? I don't know
really
what was
a woman,
going on
Fred?
there. Yeah, it's weird that the Macron and his wife. It's odd. It's very odd. But you just chalk it up to, they're French. They're from France. It's weird over there.
You're allowed to. That's normal. Steak tartare.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's a different culture.
Blue Nuit.
But yes,
Remember
I think
Blue
it's
Nuit?
odd.
Thank God for Blue
definitely
Nuit back
weird.
in the days.
I think it's weird all around, Fred. I agree. I think we agree that it's weird to have like a 30 to 40 year age gap. 30.
Yeah, but
I
how
think
does
30-year age gap is a little much.
It's a 25-year. But what's freaky is that he was 14, and what's even worse is actually the press trying to sell us like, this is normal because the press when they want to sell you a political candidate.
Who's saying this is normal?
Well, I mean, the way that it was sold when they were talking about it was like, this at the beginning they even lied. They tried to say that she was, I think, 36 and he was 16. But then like the journalists started digging up. Yeah, but I mean, because 14 is actually statutory rape and 16 is
but 16 there's like an age of consent thing in France or something. Okay,
and
God
after
Almighty.
that they're trying to sell us that she was like this incredible sexy teacher that every student would have, but
if that's so, then why is she going for a 14-year-old or 16-year-old boy? Either way,
and the pictures don't support that theory. I just want to say that.
Yeah, no,
it's fucked up, no doubt about it. No matter how you slice it, but think about it. He's a president of a country, and he gets away with that shit. Like if my boss was doing that kind of shit, I'd be leaving the company.
Whoa! Rewind.
Damn right.
Fucking AJ. What do you mean he gets away with it? If anything, he's the victim in this whole scenario. What the hell are you talking about? He was the child. He was groomed.
Yeah, but is he a child now? I'm saying that it's fucked up. It doesn't matter if you go left or right. It's fucked up. He's an adult now, and he should look back. I don't know.
Who the victim in these situations are.
Listen,
what the
listen,
fuck, AJ?
Somebody had to okay it. I guess he had parents,
this
right?
is what you did. You opened up a whole can of worms, and now AJ doesn't know how to handle it.
You went to the press secretary.
But Freddie, think about it.
I just said that I discovered this, and I was surprised.
Well, I discovered the same thing.
I didn't realize she was so young. I thought she was at least 37, not 27.
Young? You mean so old? She's like, 40 years old, bro. 14-year-old. What were you doing when you were 14 years old?
We're talking about two different people, AJ. I think you've...
What are you talking about?
We're going to move on.
So, Dave, how are the Yankees doing?
Not great.
I don't know. The season hasn't started yet.
I know, but a
lot of injuries.
A lot of injuries.
Yeah, it's looking terrible. It's looking bad. Stanton's hurt.
I heard?
So Garrett Cole is done for the season because of Tommy John. Clark Schmidt, another pitcher, he's like hurting. I saw Goldschmidt, our first baseman, got taken out of the game with some back soreness. Like it's falling apart before the season even starts.
Like I heard this
week,
like they were saying, Expos aren't coming back, man.
No,
but I was hearing this week they were saying like the Yankees generate over 100 million more than the Dodgers, man. So I think the Yankees are just badly run.
I agree. I think that we should be spending.
They need George Constanza again.
And we need George Steinbrenner again, who would spend all the money. Hal Steinbrenner is a penny pincher. He's not wanting to spend the money. They're making it. They're worth, all the money, and they don't want to spend more than the Dodgers. I think they also are willing to spend as much. It's just these players are going to other teams that are willing to spend the same. Like,
listen, I'm rooting for a team this year
to go somewhere else. Like some of these, Japanese players, like Yamamoto and this other guy that just came over to the Dodgers, like they're choosing to go to the Dodgers because they've got Ohtani and there's a draw there, and Ohtani wants to go to the Dodgers. Like, there's just, players want to go there. They are paying huge contracts. But yeah, the Yankees aren't willing to spend more. It is like kind of it's like a sore point. You go, well, why aren't you spending more money? You have it. You're generating the income. Why don't you spend the money? And they're thinking, it's not worth it. But what? Especially now, like, what the hell are we doing? We got nothing. We're one major injury from a serious, like one of our best players away from the season just being done. We get one more guy hurt in a serious way for like several months. Like, we're screwed. It's over. Like, Aaron Judge has to stay healthy. If he is hurt for like a day, we're fucked. It's over. There should be more depth.
You know what the problem is with baseball? It's all these like high, like paid players, man. And sometimes it's all about buying like heavy players. You know what? This year I'm going to support the lowest payroll in MLB. And whoever that is, which I believe is the A's, I'm going with the A's.
Might not be this year.
I'm telling you.
Rays
is pretty low payroll.
Whoever
the
it is,
Marlins aren't spending much.
KC.
Yeah.
But
wouldn't
you
that,
want to see a team?
Have fun there.
No, man. I want to see a team that wins because of heart, not because like you're paying these guys like more money than some countries. Fuck it. I want to see, man, like heart to win. And whoever that is, being it the Oakland A's or the Rays or whatever, I'm going to support them. I want to see, man, players win, not money win.
Okay. Well, AJ
has made his case for the farm system.
Dave. There you go.
That's a very left talk, Dave. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's okay. I'll be back tomorrow night with Johnny North at we're gonna say 9 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, 9 p.m. Eastern time, right here on the Ringside Report Network. We'll talk about pro wrestling and all the things going on in pro wrestling because AJ, SmackDown tomorrow going on in the afternoon. Yeah, 9, not 8:30. 8:30 was too early. It didn't work. 9 has to happen tomorrow. Not 10, because they're on in Italy. Usually we're on at 10, but tomorrow we're going to be on at 9, a little bit earlier. Last week we did 8:30, but I didn't have time. I was rushing to watch.
They love wrestling in Italy, man.
They're in Italy. Bologna, Italy, AJ. Is that where bologna comes from?
Yeah. Bologna.
Is that why you're always talking so much bologna?
Man, but it's good to see wrestling in Europe, and Italy loves it, man.
Yeah. They were in Barcelona, man. Spain last week for SmackDown. Now they're in Bologna, Italy for SmackDown. Next week they're in London, England.
How much, what's the attendance, by the way, for those things?
Packed.
Really?
Packed arenas. Wow. Yeah, sold out. Brussels, Belgium for Raw this week. They're all over Europe this month. WWE all of March doing all their TV in Europe. So they'll be back there tomorrow. Johnny and I will talk about all the wrestling that we saw and all the things that we'll see on SmackDown. We'll talk about Jon Moxley getting nails in his back. Fred, did you see that?
Yeah, that was... I don't like that. That's not wrestling. That's just gore. It's not... I'm not a fan.
Okay. Well, Fred didn't like it, but I kind of did. And I'll tell you why tomorrow on Wrestling Uncensored with Johnny North, right here on the Ringside Report Network. Thanks for sticking with us to the end.
We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word. Please share this episode on whichever social media platform you use. Add a comment below and consider reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net. Hope to see you again next time, and have a good night.